Oh boy, Chapter 21, Solid and Hazardous Waste. Nothing beats a little waste. So, Section 1 of this, it's going to be a lot of sections, so hang on tight. So, what is solid waste? Well, solid waste is any unwanted or discarded materials. So, anyone that's not a liquid or gas, by the way, that's the solid term. And when we talk about solid waste, we actually can break it into two major groups. Municipal solid waste and industrial solid waste. Municipal, your house, your home, your workplaces. This is your just normal garbage or trash that you think of. Industrial solid waste is produced by industry. These are the people who provide you with goods and services. So these two pieces come together to create what we consider to be solid waste. In addition to solid waste, you can also have hazardous or toxic waste. That's delicious sounding, isn't it? So these are things that have the potential to have human health issues or risk to the environment. They can be toxic. They are chemically active, corrosive, or flammable. And so they're dangerous, basically. And so those can come in different forms. Organic compounds are good examples. Solvents, pesticide, paint, things like that. Heavy metals and radioactive materials all fit under this category. And so, and it's important for you to know that developed countries, which we are one of, there are not very many of them in the world, make the vast majority of this hazardous waste, 80 to 90%. And we, in the United States, are the winners. We produce more than any other country. But hey, don't worry about it. China's catching up to us quickly. And so, what are the most harmful chemicals around? Well, in our house, there are examples right here. Even though they're technically considered hazardous waste, this list, they're not they're not something that the government regulates per se. But we should be careful in how we dispose of them as a result anyway, which is what this says. So from a gardening perspective, what would we consider hazardous waste from there? Pesticides and weed killers, and ant and rodent killers and flea powders, things like that would be considered hazardous waste. From your car, gasoline and motor oil and antifreeze and battery acid and transmission fluids, all of those things have toxic components to them. When it comes to cleaning, all kinds of cleaning supplies in your house that all fit under this category. Paints, pretty much paints and strips for the most part all fit in this category. So artist paints, wood preservatives, thinners and solvents, strippers, stains, all that kind of jazz fit under there. Glues and cements can fit under there. And then this one's a huge one that people don't think about. Dry cell batteries. They have mercury, which is not good for you or the environment, and cadmium, which is equally not good for you and bad for the environment, are in there. So you should not dispose of those batteries in your normal trash. It's not a good place to throw batteries away. Take them to the recycling center. So, two major reasons to be concerned with the amount of waste we generate. So, at least 75% of the waste, this is crazy, is unnecessary. And so uses up places in our landfill and resources that don't need to be used up. In addition, all of that 75% of stuff that we didn't have to create, all of that produced tons of air pollution, water pollution, land degradation, and wasting of resources. So we're not just wasting the material that we just threw away, this one can right here. We wasted all and created all kinds of problems along the way. So, in the U.S., we produce a third of the world's solid waste, and we bury over half of it. So we use landfills for the vast majority of it. So about 98.5% is industrial waste. So the vast majority of waste comes from the industrial perspective, not from local stuff. Only 1.5% is municipal solid waste, your trash. And so that's important to keep in mind. So about 55% of municipal solid waste is put into landfills. Here in Buffalo, it's much, much higher than that. About 30% is recycled or composted, and 15% is burned in incinerators. So you can see that over half is just thrown in the landfill around the United States. In Buffalo, I'd guess more like probably 80%. That's probably a fair number, I would guess. just so you know. And so what is the breakdown of that solid waste? Well, the number one solid waste thing that gets thrown away is paper. And believe it or not, followed by yard trimmings and fruit scraps, which, by the way, all on some level are compostable, followed by plastics, metals, rubber's other textiles, glass, wood, and then other. So there's the general breakdown of what's thrown into the old trash can. Down here's a breakdown of what we do a good job of recycling. So you look at this, 99% of this product right here is get recycled, which is automotive batteries. If you ever have to replace a battery in your car, you'll find when you do that, they charge you like $50 extra. And then when you bring your old battery in from your old car, they'll give you the $50 back. And through that process, they recycle almost all car batteries. Next, steel cans, then yard trimmings, then paper and plastic, or paper, excuse me. Plastic's down here ways, plastic's right there and right there. And then glass containers way down there, tires. So you can see that less and less percent. I mean, glass containers, only a fourth of glass containers are being recycled in the United States. So that's the end of that section. Move on to goodies later.